I'm Kevin Carlson, part of the worldwide Quick Suite team. I'm joined by Mary Reese from Enterprise Engineering and Sujit Narapareddy from our sales operations team. And we're very excited to talk to you today about how Amazon is using Quick Suite. We're super excited about all the progress we've made internally and how our employees are using it. And we think there's a lot of lessons that we can share that'll be valuable to all of you. I'm going to start by giving you a little bit of background and why we think Quick Suite is important, especially in this day and age. There's three main forces that are driving this workplace transformation that we're seeing. The first, obviously, is the emergence of AI agents, right? So every company is starting to think about how agents work in their business, and more importantly, how their people work with agents to get more done. The second is there's now a need for accelerated decision making. We think that 15% of decisions, the day-to-day business decisions that get made in an organization, are going to happen autonomously in the next 3 years. And that's a major shift in how we all work. And the rise of these two things is pushing us toward more pressure and competition in our workplace and with our teams, right? Individuals that are taking advantage of agents and doing more in an agentic world are seeing productivity gains, making it a more competitive place to be. And all of these things are driving organizations to make changes in the way they work. And our employees feel this, right? There's an AI consumer presence where all of our employees are using AI in their daily lives. They're exposed to consumer-facing tools, they see this, they use it, and they have a desire to take these same sorts of systems and use them in the workplace. But the enterprise still has the same needs for security, for reliability, for a trusted environment. And so we're seeing this employee desire, and we know it's going to lead to more productivity when they're able to use new tools balanced by enterprises' needs for real governance. And so there's a lot of challenges taxing your teams in this environment we find ourselves in. They're pulling data from a variety of different tools. Many of these tools have their own agentic environments or their own natural language chats. And individuals are having to assemble all of this information from different places to get their job done. These routine tasks that people do are preventing them from achieving higher value work. Time's wasted. We know that context switching is a very large source of friction in the enterprise workplace, and people are switching context in order to get the information they need. And then when they do have to do a deeper analysis, they find themselves in a bottleneck because they have to slow down and ingest all these different data sources and make a decision, usually with some gravity, and that slows down the pace of productivity. So our vision with Quick Suite is a place where agentic teammates work side by side with your employees to quickly answer the questions that people have, but not just answer questions, turn those questions and answers into actions. So we introduced Amazon Quick Suite on October 9th. We launched Quick Suite. There's been a number of major announcements since. We're very excited about it, and we're using it ourselves at Amazon. It's a place where you can unify your data sources to get clear, contextually relevant answers to your questions. You as an individual can work in Quick Suite, but you can do it increasingly alongside agentic teammates that can help you do more and more. And we think it's a very intuitive experience and an experience that your company and your employees are going to love. So just a quick rundown of what Quick Suite is. If we work from the bottom up in this chart, you'll see that Quick Suite aggregates all of your enterprise data sources that you need to get your jobs done. So knowledge bases, files that individuals might have access to and upload, maybe they historically stored in storage somewhere, and then structured data from QuickSight, so structured data from your dashboards as well. We combine this enterprise knowledge with actions in first-party, third-party systems, and then we augment it with world knowledge and the ability to search the web when necessary. And all of that forms an underpinning for what Quick Suite allows you to do. And then we introduced this concept called Spaces. And what Spaces is, it allows Quick Suite, rather than to feel so enterprise heavy and top down, as an enterprise, we're going to structure knowledge sources and force you to use those in a rigid way. Spaces allows teams and individuals to craft their own environments where they can take agentic actions as they work. In the middle here, we do this with all the same things you've come to love about AWS, governance, guardrails, a responsible AI perspective, the ability to have some adherence to regulatory compliance depending on the industry. And then we overlay 5 key capabilities on top of this. So chat agents, the ability to converse in natural language to get things done. A specific agent targeted at research, so we can do deep research into complicated business problems that require you to aggregate lots of different data into one answer. QuickSight, the structured data environment that has all of your BI and generative BI capabilities. Flows, which is a lightweight automation framework designed for teams and individuals to agentically automate the things they do every day. And then Quick Automate, which is a more heavyweight automation environment designed for enterprise-grade automations. All of that comes together to form QuickSuite. It's built on top of an index, right? So we bring the structured, the unstructured, all that information together in a place where we can look at it uniformly. That's been a challenge in generative AI. And now with agentic workflows, we need to have a consolidated underpinning where we can make really good decisions based on all of the organizational data that matters to us. So QuickSuite unites teams and agents. And if you want to create a custom chat agent in QuickSuite, you don't need to be a software developer to do it. You simply use natural language, you describe the needs of your team, what you'd like this agent to do. You can connect it to relevant data sets that you've uploaded to get context-rich answers. And QuickSuite will even give you recommendations on how to improve that agent to make it better at the thing you're designing it to accomplish. I talked about spaces. Once you've built an agent in QuickSuite, you can collaborate with your teammates in a construct called a space. Spaces allow you to build a hub where the knowledge that's really relevant to your team coexists along with the agents that your team is going to use. You can upload specific documents, maybe it's project-based, maybe it's team-based, in order to fit that current mission. And then you can build agents that work against only that space, so they have very contextually relevant answers based on information that's current to your team. One of the challenges, of course, in organizational agentic AI is there is a lot of data. And so the idea of a space allows teams to really hone in on what's important to them. Just to dive deeper on a few of the features inside QuickSuite, QuickSight, which you may be familiar with, hasn't gone anywhere. It's become a feature inside QuickSuite. And so all of the structured analyses that you're used to doing, interacting with dashboards, chatting with those dashboards, using natural language to create new artifacts off those dashboards, building data stories, that all exists in QuickSuite, and it exists in a very seamless way. I talked about Quick Research. Quick Research is a place where you can tackle those really time-intensive tasks. You can leverage your data, your organizational data that you've added into QuickSuite. You can leverage private third-party data. We recently announced some interesting third-party connections that allow you to bring private data sets to augment your research, and you can use data from the internet as well. And you can combine those to do a very intensive research project that might consider 20 or 30 or 40 sources, and you can do that in as little as 30 minutes. Quick Flows is the automation engine that sits inside QuickSuite and allows you to connect all of these tools together. So you can save time and energy by automating repetitive tasks. You create a flow in the same way that you might have created an agent. You give a natural language description about what you're trying to achieve. QuickSuite will interpret that description. It'll look at the things you have access to. So you might have access to certain data sources, certain spaces that you or your team have configured, certain actions in third-party systems, and QuickSuite will build a flow that allows you to execute a process. And you'll see some examples of that later today. So Amazon QuickSuite, kind of in summary for this introductory section, agentic teammates, a place where you and those teammates work together. Those teammates, of course, are going to get more and more capable over time. Instantly move from answers to actions in a seamless way, and do that in an enterprise-grade, secure and governed and reliable place. All right, so we know that even though there are tools like this in existence, it's very hard to scale. And I think when I met with customers, I often would say, well, 2025 was, or 2024 was the year of the pilot, and 2025 is definitely going to be the year of production. But the reality is it's still very hard. And 88% of all AI pilots are still failing to reach production. And 72% of our C-suite leaders would say that their company has faced some challenge in implementing AI and adopting AI. This is just the reality of where we are today. And at Amazon, we face this just like all of you. We are a very peculiar culture. That's a word we like to use to describe ourselves. We have millions of employees worldwide. We have many, many different organizations inside of Amazon that operate very independently. We have lots and lots of different job functions, and it's a very complex environment in which to implement AI. And we feel a lot of the same challenges that you feel. Just like every enterprise, these are some of the challenges that we face. So when we implement AI, it has to be very, very broad. We want to implement AI in a way that all of our organization can get the most benefit from. So we don't want to target an individual team with a very specific product. That happens a lot in Amazon due to the creativity of teams building things based on the tools available in AWS. But what we want to achieve is broad organizational adoption. There's a novelty associated with AI, right? And just like you, we've had to go through the security and legal processes to get this accepted in a way that the organization can trust. And Mary's going to spend some time talking about how challenging some of that was. We also have a lot of disparate data. We have data silos just like any other organization. We have data silos sitting at the team level. We have them at the enterprise level. And in order for agentic AI to be effective, those data silos need to be connected in a way we can get the right answers to the questions we're asking. And finally, we have lots of employees that are used to doing things the way they do them. And we need to implement some sort of change management to roll out AI inside the organization. And that's a challenge for us as well. So we're excited to tell you that Amazonians are using Quick Suite as their agentic AI teammate. It's been a journey to get there, and you're going to hear about that journey. But over 40,000 Amazonians have created custom chat agents to help them with their job. Hundreds of thousands of users together have created over 50,000 quick research queries and answered questions that required deep analysis and saved lots of time. And hundreds of thousands of users have run over 300,000 quick flows, which means somebody's built those flows and then they've been executed over 300,000 times. So we're starting to see the benefits of having rolled out Quick Suite inside the organization. And Sujit's going to go really deep on one of those stories and why we're seeing so much value. So with that, I'd like to bring Mary up to talk about how challenging this was and how successful it was to roll out Quick Suite. Thanks, Mary.
I'm Mary Reese, a senior manager and principal technical product manager working on the enterprise engineering team. Enterprise engineering is responsible for delivering enterprise-wide productivity tools and services to the organization, as well as mechanisms to ensure secure compliance of our client device fleet. And what that means is that we deliver and support first and third-party large-scale rollouts across Amazon. We have over 100 products in our service catalog, and some of those products have as many as 1 million users. And so today, I'm going to tell you about some of the challenges that we had rolling out Quick Suite for Amazon internally, what was in our internal go-to-market plan, and what best practices we use to drive engagement. There were 4 areas that we spent a lot of time in order to roll out successfully. The first one was data unification, determining what were the most valuable data sources to enable for our customers, Amazon employees, when we started providing usage. The second one was security. Amazon has a very high security bar, and there's a number of steps that we had to go through to ensure that our product met that security bar. Then there was privacy. Being a global company, we work with a lot of work councils, and we have to ensure that we meet their requirements in order to be able to scale this product across our entire organization. And of course, scalability. Anytime we want to roll out to such a large user community, we want to make sure that we can drive excitement, engagement, and get everybody using a product that's going to benefit them in the organization as a whole. So let's dive a little bit deeper on each one of these challenges. Starting with data unification. We needed to determine what were the most valuable data sources to connect with Quick Suite to empower our employees that would help them be the most productive. And so we did some internal research on what our employees were searching on, what they were using for project management, and what they were using to collaborate on document creation and collaboration. And by looking at the list of products that were in use, we prioritized those products and came up with 15 different products that we decided to connect to QuickSuite so our users could access all that data right within inside of QuickSuite, creating a curated knowledge base for our employees to work with. Next, we had the challenge of security. Amazon has a very high security bar for products that are used internally, and there's a specific process that we go through to gain security approvals. We started by working with our security partners to inspect our high-level design and technical architecture of the product, as well as threat models, and we also had to perform comprehensive penetration testing. Any findings from the penetration testing had to be addressed and fixed, and the testing cycle began again until we were able to mitigate all of the risks and get our security sign-off. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot of work when I phrase it in that way, but there were a lot of individuals that did a lot of work to make it possible to get that approval. And then, of course, privacy as a global company is a process to work with many, many work councils across all of the different countries that Amazon does business in to help them understand the risk that is associated with AI. We actually held a lot of educational sessions with the work councils, educating them on the difference between agentic AI and large language models. We also put a lot of emphasis on the fact that employees' privacy was protected because data was de-identified and that it wasn't being tracked back to individual employees. And then another concern of our work councils was that the data would somehow be available to everybody within QuickSuite. So we assured them that if an individual took a data source and put it in a space like Kevin described, that data source would inherit the security settings of the original owner and not be available for everyone in QuickSuite. And so by demystifying exactly what was happening with privacy settings in QuickSuite, we're on a path forward to provide access to everybody in every country to be able to use QuickSuite. And then lastly was our scalability plan. We worked with our legal team to update our Amazon's AI responsibility policy and ensure that all employees had access to it. And then we took a data-driven research approach to understand all the job families within Amazon and where the opportunities were in pain points that we could map to features that QuickSuite would provide to the users, solving those pain points and integrate that information into our training so we weren't just scaling AI, but we were providing solutions for our users so they could immediately get started and be more effective. And then we created a multi-point touch-point launch plan with several different ways of communicating to employees what was available to them for the large-scale adoption that we led. And so we wanted to generate awareness and excitement throughout the org. And we kicked off our plan by automatically installing QuickSuite browser extension and M365 add-ins for Word and Outlook, so employees immediately had access to these tools without doing anything. Then we launched an email campaign. We had touch points like newsletters. We launched an internal wiki with frequently asked questions that also included self-service training snacks, little videos for our employees to ask questions to and watch in case there was something specific that they were looking to determine how to use. And we also created Slack channels where we had individuals assigned to monitor and respond to questions, but we found out that a lot of the answers to the questions were actually crowdsourced by users of QuickSuite themselves. We conducted dozens of large live training sessions for users that we tried to curate to the audience and what they would be using the product for. And we sent out weekly surveys, creating a voice of the customer feedback loop so we could incorporate the feedback that we were getting into our training materials and into our communications, meeting our employees where they are. And also, we created user community focus groups. So all those things were part of how we were going to engage our user community, but we needed to start off small because, as you know, with a large-scale engagement, you can't just flip it on like a light switch. So we gave access to individual users in AWS and enterprise engineering to our beta version of the product. And we had a feedback loop to listen to the voice of the customer where we took their recommendations or suggestions or even maybe found a few bugs that we could fix before we gained 100% confidence that we were ready to scale this project to all of our knowledge workers. And so from there, we looked very deeply at our user research in our personas and what their pain points were. And we determined how we could fit Quick Suite's features with our user persona pain points. And so we looked into each vertical at Amazon, and then we tried to look at the data horizontally and identify what we consider a force multiplier, a solution to the problem that can be used across the entire organization. And we based a lot of our training around this information. We identified program status reports as a force multiplier that could drive productivity, and we were able to do before and after analysis to determine how many steps it took to create a program status report, the number of time from beginning to end, and our customer, our internal employees' user satisfaction with that process. We measured our gains in comparison, and we found out that this was a very effective force multiplier. By providing our employees with data integrations that they were able to create workflows on, to create status reports, we saw an improvement of hours saved per week. But what we learned is it wasn't just a matter of being able to automate the process of creating a status report automatically for a large cross-organization comprehensive report. By using agentic AI, we were also able to gain insights and learn things about that report. So previously, we had been reporting what we did one week and what we were planning on doing the next week. Using Quick Suite, we were able to gain insights on any work across a large organization that might be duplicate and updates that were missing, and then also potential risks. So we were able to elevate the quality of what we were doing within that. And so all this to say that the impact that this product has driven at Amazon is that hundreds of thousands of Amazon employees use Quick Suite today as their agentic AI teammate. And next, Sujit is going to tell us about his team's use of Quick Suite at Amazon.
Thank you, Mary, for making Quick Suite available across Amazon and for seamless enterprise-wide integration. Before we jump into how we use Quick Suite at AWS and our AWS Insights journey, let me introduce myself and my team's mission. I'm Sujit Narupareddy, Head of Analytics and Insights at AWS Global Sales. We support AWS sales, marketing, and services organization. Our team's vision is to deliver insights and intelligence to the right persona at the right time for data-driven decision-making. Let's talk about where this all started. Sometimes understanding the problem is half the solution. So before diving into the product details, let me share the challenges we faced because I'm sure many of you would resonate to the challenges in your own organizations. At AWS, like in any other large metrics enterprise, we struggle with what I call the problem of plenty, with fragmented data sources and proliferating dashboards. Our teams were overly focused on KPIs rather than trying to address the core business questions. Most importantly, we found ourselves unable to effectively analyze root causes or deliver truly actionable insights. These challenges were apparent during the internal business reviews and even more prominent in the rhythm of the business. They resulted in poor experience to our C-suite leaders, sales managers during these reviews. While we had all the necessary data points and metrics, they were fragmented and lacked context. This is similar to having all the ingredients to prepare a meal, but with no clear recipe or labels to make sense of them. From this business review dilemma, there emerged two critical questions. First, how could we transform this overwhelming abundance of data into meaningful insights that can actually drive business value? And second, how could we evolve beyond the traditional analytics to leverage AI-first insights? These weren't just technical challenges. They were fundamental to improving how our business leaders make decisions. With QuickSuite, we found an elegant solution to both these questions, which I'll walk you through next. To answer these questions, we developed a three-tiered approach. Rather than throwing more and more dashboards at the problem, we needed a structured approach that transforms how we think about data. Think of this as a journey from knowing to understanding to acting. It starts with descriptive analytics, answering what is happening in the business. It gives us the baseline metrics and data points, but we didn't stop here. Moving to the second tier, diagnostic analytics. This is where we dig deeper into understanding why and where this is happening. This is crucial because it moves us beyond just spotting the trends to actually understanding the root causes. For example, instead of just seeing a dip in sales, we can pinpoint exactly where and why that dip occurred. The final tier, prescriptive analytics. This is what sets this framework apart. It answers the critical question, how can we take actions? This is where our AI-powered insights truly shine. Instead of leaving the user to interpret the data, the system provides clear, actionable recommendations based on proven patterns and predictive analytics. The ultimate goal here isn't just to tell users what's happening, it's to guide them on what to do about it. Now, let me show you how we brought this framework to life. AWS Insights is our analytics platform, which facilitates business reviews within AWS. This combines traditional business intelligence with modern AI capabilities, providing users flexible ways to interact with business data. The two capabilities are, one, traditional analytics with QuickSuite dashboards, but with a twist to embed these dashboards on a web application, making analytics more accessible, collaborative, and actionable for everyone in your enterprise. This allowed us to go from CEO to seller, services to sales, and marketing to signals all at one place. Two, conversational AI with Quick Chat, letting users ask questions in plain English and giving them faster and deeper answers all in less than minutes. Now, to put these concepts into action and give you a better visual understanding, let's watch a short demonstration.
As leaders managing AWS's complex business, we needed a solution that could keep pace with our scale and decision-making speed. AWS Insights is our answer. A platform that transforms how we analyze and act on business insights across our organization. We've structured this platform around how we run our business. Central insights mirror our business review cadences, while functional and supplemental insights serve our specialized teams. This isn't just another set of dashboards. It's built around our operational rhythm with context and guardrails embedded at every layer. For traditional analytics, 3 key capabilities make this powerful for our leaders. First, QuickSight embedding allows us to have a navigation pane and shortcuts. Second, seamless context preservation, as your filters and actions follow you, eliminating the need to rebuild context across dashboards. Third, instant drill downs from CEO level metrics to individual customer performance, revealing exactly what's driving anomalies. For the conversational experience, our data structure and approach to knowledge modeling allows quick suite chat agents to understand our business context. I can ask, provide me a business summary, and get actionable and contextualized insights immediately. A summary like this before would have required manual requests, a review across multiple dashboards, and not to mention the meetings, Q&A, plus the back and forth to understand all of the unique details. Sales leaders can now dive as deep as they want with natural language conversations that respect not only their permissions, but also their unique context and sales strategy. The chat agent also allows web search to connect to external intelligence. Leaders can ask, analyze industry trends that may impact our December forecasts to get web-sourced insights securely grounded in our actual business performance. This platform solves what we've struggled with for years, handling massive data at scale while ensuring every leader works from the same source of truth with no more conflicting numbers across sales, finance, and operations. This is how we run AWS at the speed our business and customers demand.
As you've seen in the demo, the dashboards and the AI interactions work together seamlessly to deliver insights. But what you're seeing is just the tip of the iceberg. To create this intuitive experience, we built a comprehensive foundation with 3 key elements. Now, let me take you behind the scenes to show you our approach. First, how we enhance the traditional insights to make them more actionable. Second, how did we prepare the AI engine to deliver intelligent and contextual responses? And third, how we connected everything through QuickSuite to create a unified experience. Let's dive into each of these areas and see how we work them together. Let's look into this problem of proliferation. When we started, dashboards existed in silos like the example on the screen. There were duplicate revenue dashboards by region, and users accessed separate dashboards in isolation. There was no unified structure connecting these insights, leading to the fragmented experience. So, to address this, we consolidated all these dashboards on a QuickSuite-powered web application using a book-like architecture like you're seeing on the screen. This book-like architecture has chapters representing a specific function of the business, like revenue, customer analytics, operations, and finance, all of them connected through a unified software layer. The book-like architecture approach means that each business vertical has its own dedicated chapter with relevant dashboards, but they're all interconnected through the common underlying foundational data and software layer. This ensures consistency in insights and user experience. QuickSuite's web application layer allowed us to systematically control the experience and also at the same time provide the flexibility for builder community to co-develop. Now, let's dive into how we prepared the AI engine with a 5-step flywheel. Question to the audience here. Raise your hands if you've ever been frustrated by an agent giving you irrelevant or incomplete responses. Quite a few hands raised here. So that's exactly what we're trying to solve with knowledge base with quick agents. Agents configured on a dashboard is like a vending machine. When you push a button, you exactly get a very specific item. However, a knowledge-based agent is like a chef. It has the capability to create custom solutions from all the available ingredients. This knowledge-based backed agents are far more powerful, but it requires some initial setup and some configuration. We've invested in building these knowledge base for our sophisticated architecture to ensure it meets our complex use case. So we began with centralizing the data stores and implementing pre-calculated metrics and building evaluation frameworks with checkpoints to catch agent hallucinations. These built-in validations ensure responses are accurate and reliable. Our secret ingredient here is to maintain business logic and relationships through template structure. This gave users the much-needed context preservation. Now moving to the enrichment phase. In an enterprise setting, it's very common for each department like sales, marketing, finance to traditionally maintain their own data systems. When we want agents to give comprehensive insights, they're limited by these artificial boundaries. So we implemented a cross-vertical data enrichment with smart chunking. In case of large data sets, they're intelligently segmented into manageable chunks with business relationships established across departments. This isn't a one-time setup, it's a living, iterative enrichment process to keep the database and the knowledge base current across all business functions. Quick flows, built-in functionality helps with orchestrating the entire enrichment process. Now that we have a powerful knowledge base enriched with cross-functional data, let me show you something that's truly game-changing. How we moved from asking what happened to understanding how and why it happened. Imagine a very common business question. How is this month's revenue performance? In the past, the 3 user roles that you can see on the screen, let's say executives, sales, and finance, would see the same static answer on the dashboard. Today, each receives insights tailored specifically for their role, and this magic happens by combining knowledge base with quick agents, delivering instant and personalized intelligence. While the knowledge base provides business context and semantic understanding, the quick agents act as the intelligent analysts to perform root cause analysis and explaining the why behind the trends. That's how we're making data intelligence truly personal and actionable for every persona. It's not just about the question, but it's also about who is asking the question. Moving to security phase. Here's a challenge that we all face. How do you share sensitive business data with thousands of users while ensuring everyone only sees what they are supposed to see? We created a row-level security architecture layer that handles this problem. The smart system filters data based on our user persona before it leaves the database. Think of this as your digital bouncer, ensuring unauthorized information never makes it past the database store. Now that we have secured our data, let's talk about bringing together organization-wide collective expertise. Within AWS, different teams have built specialized agents, each bringing unique capabilities from customer success workflows to financial modeling. We wanted to leverage these existing agents to enrich our platform without building them from the scratch. Here's where Quick Actions provided as a solution. It acts as a universal translator, letting these specialized agents work together securely. Think of this as an intelligent orchestrator, ensuring all our expert systems speak the same language while respecting the security boundaries. With this setup, we just didn't connect the agents. We broke down the walls between the teams and created a truly collaborative AI ecosystem. Let me bring this all together. What you're seeing here is the complete architecture of AWS Insights AI engine with Quick Suite. Now, let's move on to how do we connect with Quick Suite. There are 3 primary methods to connect depending on the use case. For experimentation, we can use out-of-the-box quick knowledge base. This is perfect for prototyping, testing new ideas, and this requires minimal to no coding. 2, for task automation, especially when connecting multiple applications, we can expose business-focused tools as MCP endpoints to connect with Quick Suite's agent. This efficiently handles the routine tasks and is also another out-of-the-box solution. 3, for business narratives or for any other complex reasoning use cases, building a knowledge base like we discussed earlier helps, and it can be connected via MCP connection. Before I wrap up, I want to share the critical lessons we learned along this journey, because building a 5-star culinary experience isn't just about having the right ingredients and equipment. It's about the principles and practices to ensure consistent excellence. So, lesson 1, invest in your data. Your agent is only as good as your data. We've learned early that you can't compensate for poor data with a more powerful AI model. 2, understand your user and their intent. One-size-fits-all insights won't work. We need our agents to understand who's asking, not just what they're asking. 3, right information beats all information. More data doesn't mean better answers. So prioritize precision over volume. 4, catch errors before deployment, because quality is non-negotiable. We implemented evaluation frameworks with checkpoints to catch agent hallucinations before they reach customers. Built-in validations ensures responses are accurate and reliable. Now I'll welcome Kevin back onto the stage to share some other customer examples.
Thanks, Sujit. I love this example because it's weighty, right? It shows enterprise-grade thinking. It doesn't ignore the data preparation. It shows how a real enterprise at scale can surface something through QuickSuite that takes a lot of work behind the scenes, but then because of what QuickSuite offers, provides a much better experience to the people using those tools. So I think it's a great example. Not every example is that weighty. And so I want to walk through some other ways that Amazon is benefiting from QuickSuite throughout the organization and just share some other examples for you. So our AWS finance team has been one of the early adopters of QuickSuite. They track a number of deals across a lot of disconnected data sources. So they use 4 hours typically to do a deal analysis. They bring data together from a variety of disparate systems to do that. And what they wanted to do was short-circuit that time. And so they implemented QuickSuite. They built a space that has the knowledge bases that they need to bring those disparate data sources together. And now they see analysis going from 4 hours down to minutes. They're running 500 concurrent deals at the same time, which is more scale than they could achieve before. They have implemented real-time alerts to be proactive when things are not going the way they want them to go. And the end result here is acceleration of revenue for the business. Our worldwide specialist team, that's the team that I'm on. You might see the jackets with WWSO on them around. The worldwide specialist team is a group of experts that support our field because they have real deep knowledge into the services or industries that AWS works in. And so the challenge there is that there's a lot of fragmented content. There's manual artifacts created all over. It's very hard to prep for a meeting, especially if you're trying to operate across a variety of services that AWS offers. There's lots of material. And so the solution for the WWSO team has been to build a unified data mesh that's exposed through QuickSuite. It uses MCP and some of the connected actions, and it basically allows them to automate that briefing and preparation process. And so they're seeing a 90% reduction in time spent to create what we would call a sales play. Over 10 hours saved a week for people that were spending a lot of time creating materials in advance of meetings. We're seeing 75% of the workforce engage with those natural language chat companions in this human plus agent inside QuickSuite, the way they work together, and actually seeing a much better result in terms of coverage of that source material. In supply chain by Amazon, the finance team there is also seeing great value in QuickSuite. So there were 6 legacy companies that consolidated to become that supply chain organization. And that meant there's a lot of disparate, fragmented systems behind the scenes that they need to use to get their work done. And so they implemented QuickSuite, again, knowledge base, space, consolidate that information together. And now when they build strategic finance documents, they see an incredible increase in their writing velocity because they don't have to go to those 6 individual places from 6 legacy organizations to pull information together. They've been able to expand internationally in a more efficient way, and they can do lots of on-demand analysis that they didn't have the time or bandwidth to complete before. The last example is QuickScribe. So as you can imagine, when we meet with customers and we sit down with you, we take lots and lots of meeting notes, and we have lots and lots of insights that we gather, but oftentimes those are not aggregated in a meaningful way. And so a team built something called QuickScribe that sits on top of QuickSuite, and this allows us to extract and structure all of that unstructured content into something that is more meaningful for us moving forward. So we can capture documentation instantly, we can start to recognize patterns that we couldn't see before, and we really have a centralized source of intelligence from all those conversations we have with our customers that are so valuable to us here at Amazon. So there's lots of these examples, and our commitment to you is that we are going to do our best to share these publicly, to make them available, because we're learning things every day. For myself, sitting on the worldwide Quick Suite team, I haven't been able to anticipate any of the ways in which the business is really getting the most value. And so over time, as we can, we'll document more and more of these, and we'll share them publicly, and we'll try to use our lessons as an organization to help you in your journey as you adopt Quick Suite. We have a full packed reInvent here with Quick Suite sessions. There are 25 total sessions. There were several yesterday. Today, there are still a couple more. I think there's a chalk talk coming up. There's a 5 p.m. workshop. We'd encourage you to attend these. We have 7 sessions on Wednesday, another 7 sessions on Thursday. So please, take a look at the catalog and use this opportunity to get to know Quick Suite and what you can do with it. There is so much depth in each of those functions, in research and automate and flows, that it's worth attending some of these to learn more. A couple of QR codes I'll leave up here for a minute that you can scan. We have a Quick Suite community. That is a public-facing site that has tons and tons of resources. It has an engaged community of people that contribute and answer questions. You can join that Quick Suite community. There are demos you can run up there. It is our home, our public-facing home for all things Quick Suite, so please take advantage of that. And then you can continue your learning journey on AWS Skill Builder. So as you learn more about, or you desire to learn more about agentic AI and how Quick Suite fits into that picture, you can use Skill Builder as a place to go with over 1,000 free expert-led training classes. So we really appreciate your time today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your reInvent. Thank you very much.